Welcome to Tech Tracker on Nation's Restaurant News. I'm Diana Blass, a contributor with NRN. This episode, sponsored by Panasonic Connect, dives into the latest news around virtual brands, third-party delivery, and autonomous robots, because who doesn't like robots, right? They're headlines that speak to a tech shakeup as restaurants continue to lean on tech in a tough economy. But just how much they wish to do so is a question. Let's turn to NRN senior editor and author of NRN's Tech Tracker column, Joanna Fantozzi, to learn more. Hi, Joanna. Let's kick things off with the news around Nexpipe, a virtual restaurant concept that you've had your eyes on for a while now, which makes these developments really interesting. Sam Nazarian of SBE Entertainment Group has acquired Nexpipe with plans to continue operating it as a standalone business. The news surfaced around the same time that Nextbite sold off its tech arm, Ordermark, to the Indian software company Urban Piper after a series of layoffs. Now, this is interesting because Nextbite not too long ago was the competitor to be. It hired industry superstars, it partnered with celebrities and big-name restaurants. It attracted $120 million in investments. At the same time, virtual restaurants or ghost kitchens were also in demand as consumer trends pointed to a delivery-only model. So what do you think all this says about the overall market and demand for virtual restaurants?
I will say I don't think this necessarily means that the virtual restaurant industry is dead. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. I just think that it's become more niche. In 2020 and 2021, this was a way for restaurants to kind of get more income, is to do these ghost kitchens. But now customers have more options.
Interesting. Well, let's now take a closer look at where Nextpipe potentially went wrong. In your article, you have really interesting sources who explain that virtual brands can get too caught up on the technology and the flashy partnerships rather than, of course, the food.
The food, just to be blunt, doesn't get great reviews. Now, there are a lot of the reason that a lot of these virtual brands partner with celebrities is because it gets people in the door. Not actually in the door because there's no door, but it gets people's attention on if you're scrolling through Grubhub or DoorDash or whatever. But the thing is that a lot of these brands do get bad reviews. Not necessarily even because the food is bad, but because the delivery experience is bad. Maybe the food arrived cold or soggy, and whatnot. So then you don't have repeat customers. And so that's not lucrative in the long term. And so a lot of the sources that I talked to for this story mentioned how important simplicity is. Like one source that I spoke to said for his virtual restaurant company, he keeps it so uber simple that he has a peanut butter and jelly company, which is hilarious. Like, why can't you just make peanut butter and jelly at home? And a grilled cheese brand. And why that's important to keep it super simple is A, that's more likely to deliver okay. And B, it makes it less complex for the restaurants that are making this food. They're making this food in ghost kitchens.
Let's now turn our attention to Grubhub, which says it will lay off 400 employees, about 15% of its workforce, amid higher costs and declining orders. Food delivery has grown in recent years, so it's interesting to see that Grubhub is struggling in comparison to competitors like DoorDash and Uber Eats. Why do you think that's happening?
If I had to guess, and this is pure speculation, I think a sale might be coming soon, maybe sometime this year or next year, because so Grubhub laid off 15% of its staff, and they're going to be announcing. They said they're going to be announcing some plans for the long term. I mean, it'd be a really interesting move if DoorDash purchased Grubhub, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen because I don't think that DoorDash really needs to purchase Grubhub at this time. They are the number one competitor in the delivery space. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Grubhub, but I think that some of this is kind of a cyclical thing, like kind of slightly unrelated, but still in the tech space, Olo also laid off a significant percentage of its staff.
Well, let's now take a look at Uber Eats, who is hiring robots. The tech company has made a splash, announcing that it will expand a pilot of sidewalk delivery robots in LA, a collaboration with Serve Robotics. The robots are described as level 4, meaning they can handle all aspects of driving independently without human intervention. What do you think the future holds for these bots, Joanna?
I wouldn't be surprised if the next place that they go is New York City, because New York City just passed a new minimum wage law for delivery drivers in New York, and that it almost triples their current wage. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Uber is kind of like, okay, well, we need to bring these robots here because otherwise, suddenly our labor costs just went way, way up.
So when you look at all these headlines, what do you think they say about the restaurant industry's adoption and acceptance of technology today?
A lot of operators I've spoken to kind of are still minimalist with their tech stack. It's amazing. You hear so much about this AI in the front and the back of the house. I actually just spoke to someone who said, yeah, I'm really interested in that, but I still have paper receipts. It's really expensive to invest in this technology, which is true. And so I think it's pretty smart for operators to kind of sit back and see, what do I actually need? Because right now it can be easily overwhelming. So I think it is kind of smart to just kind of, on some of these things, wait it out.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there. Thanks, Joanna, and thanks everyone at home for watching. For more coverage, check out Joanna's Tech Tracker articles on nrn.com. Till next time, I'm Diana Blass.